There's lots to like about these elegant high-res audio earbuds. Let's check them out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out these. These are the Soundpeats Air5 Pro Plus high-res audio TWS earbuds. That's a mouthful, but there are multiple generations into Soundpeat working on not just the driver technology here, but also all the ENC for microphone pickup and all the high-res certifications. But what's really cool about these are using what are known as xMEMS drivers. And xMEMS is a whole different driver technology. So these feature 10mm dynamic driver with an Aptos Class H amplifier. Also features the Qualcomm S3 platform, giving you 20 to 40,000 hertz frequency response. I absolutely promise I cannot hear 40,000 hertz. You know, you can't hear 40,000 hertz, but it just has a huge amount of range. So it does a really nice, very precise job of audio reproduction. It features support for aptX, aptX lossless, AAC, LC3, LDAC, Bluetooth 5.4, and it has an active noise canceling. I suppose I should open it and pull one out so you can see what they look like. So it actually also has an active noise canceling system that can drop 55 decibels of background noise. I have used this in noisy environments and found it to be really good. And I often will use these sort of earbuds when I go for walks around my neighborhood, just to stretch my legs, you know, and I don't even hear cars come up. So I have to be very conscious of safety when I do that. But that ANC really lets you isolate yourself and just be in your music or your podcasts or your audiobooks or whatever else you're listening to. Very nice. So it supports high-res audio, and there's a new Snapdragon music and audio technology that it supports too. I imagine we'll hear more about that. Snapdragon, of course, is part of that Qualcomm system. And let's see. So it has 30 hours on a total charge. The earbuds themselves will run 6 hours without needing a charge. But you know, you put them in for 10 minutes. It's a little different the way they fit in, but you put them in for 10 minutes and that'll give you 2 more hours of playback. And when you do need to charge them, there's USB-C on the bottom, super easy to work with. Let me give you a couple of close-ups as I give you a couple more specs, and then we'll get into some demos. So, multi-point connectivity, so you can have it simultaneously paired with multiple devices, and whichever one's generating sound, that's the one that it'll actually let you hear. And for microphone pickup, it has 3 microphones on each earbud, and there's ENC, or environmental noise canceling, so very slick. One more cool feature, game mode. There's a mode you can put it in that gives you 60 millisecond latency. Now, 60 milliseconds might sound like a lot, but it is a tiny, tiny fraction of a second. And that means if you're gaming and you use these, then you're going to hear the footsteps or the gunfire or whatever it is going on in the game. You're going to hear it as the system generates that sound. So there's not going to be a delay. And you gamers out there know that latency is really annoying. It's also really annoying with video content, because then you'll end up where the lips aren't synchronized with the audio. That's annoying. So, okay, IPX5 water resistant, and let's see, comes with 3 sizes of ear tips, comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, really short one, and a little bit of instructions, little user guide here. So pretty much what you'd expect to find in the package. Now, let's do some demos. So the first demo I'm going to do is I'm going to let you hear the microphone pickups. Let me put these in, and that's easy enough. The one on the right side goes in your right ear, and no big surprise, the one on the left side goes in your left ear. And then I have it paired to my iPhone 17 Pro. So I'm going to just go into a voice recorder. Now what you're hearing is my voice as picked up by the Soundpeats Air5 Pro Plus. And I think it does a really good job. I found that it had a little bit of an echo sound. I'm not sure you can hear that right now, but It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And I tried it again in noisy environments, and it did a really nice job of eliminating some of that background noise. So props to them for getting the microphone pickup right. Now, let's switch and check out their app. You can see I have the earbuds connected with the Soundpeats app, and user interface wise, I don't think they were very careful about looking at contrast issues. So, particularly as I scroll up, that text is almost unreadable. Soundpeats, the look of this app is really cool, but you need more contrast for those of us that don't have perfect eyesight. So, I have 3 different ANC settings here. And then notice there's 4 different types of ANC. Hopefully you can read that. So there's adaptive noise cancellation, indoor noise cancellation, outdoor noise cancellation, and traffic mode. So that's really nice. They've got these all set. You can see the battery levels on each unit and on the case. Everything's fully charged. And then if I go near the bottom, then you can see that I can disable touch controls. I can go into game mode, and that gets me the minimal latency. I can do dual device connection, which I have enabled, and I can customize the touch controls. But on the very bottom, I can also go to the settings in the middle, and now I can get to an EQ test. That's a hearing test sort of thing. If I go there, I'm not going to do that right now. It's about a 5-minute process, but it's actually a really great idea because then the EQ will customize based on the frequencies that you can hear really well and the frequencies that maybe you're losing a little bit of actually fidelity with. You can also go into presets, and I just have the default sound effect, but I can go into bass boost or bass reduction, and I can even customize my own, but I'm going to go back to default sound. And then finally, there's a couple more options under the user profile, including an FAQ, and you can get into more settings here where you get into things like the language. So it supports multiple languages. If you end up with it in Chinese, don't panic. Just go into language and choose English. So great. That's pretty much everything in the app. If there is a firmware update, you can find it here. And what I tapped was the 3 lines known as the hamburger menu on the top right. And so now I can see firmware update, and I can check for updates, and I am running the latest version. That's not something you have to do very frequently, but I'd say every couple of months, just kind of remember to do that because a lot of these devices have a lot of firmware updates because they're constantly fine-tuning the experience. For example, the next firmware update might actually take away a little bit of that echo on the microphone pickup, especially now that I mentioned it. But that's pretty much the app, and that's pretty much that piece of the demo. So let me go ahead and turn this off. There's a lot I really like about these Air5 Pro Plus. I think Soundpeats has really learned from all its iterative design. They've been looking at generations or producing generations of earbuds, and the high-res audio sounds great, and the ANC works really well, and I really like the design with that gold on it. It just looks very executive, very, sort of stylish, which is nice because I spend so much time with Apple gear and it's all this uniform white plastic. And yes, it all looks very sleek, but a little bit of personality in our devices isn't such a bad thing. And that's exactly what these have. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to share with you. I think these are definitely worth having on your short list. I should talk about the music reproduction though, only the most important part. And they do a really good job, as you would expect from certified high-res audio. But I was very impressed. I went back and listened to some like classic best of Duran Duran. And I know, kind of dates me, the music I listen to, but really nicely produced albums, really fun music, really danceable stuff. And it just had a nice big soundstage and a real lush warmth to it. It was very, very listenable. And really, you could crank it way up. I'm not going to say whether I did or not, but it was a really enjoyable listening experience. And then I bounced to some early jazz from like the 1940s and 1950s. And obviously, those recordings aren't as good, but it did a really nice job of giving me that sort of intimate feel of like a jazz trio and stuff. And so I really was impressed with the sound reproduction here. I think they really got a lot right. And at the price, these are a really solid option. So I really am going to encourage you, if you're in the market for TWS earbuds and you want something that gives you really nice music reproduction, or you're looking for it for a gift, then these are a really solid option to consider. Now, we should talk about the price. Before we get there, those of you that watch me all the time know exactly what I'm about to say. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for notifications of my new content. And while you're at it, if you found this of value, give me a thumbs up. Sure appreciate that. Excellent. These, let me open up the case. Oh, and I should say, I'm not a huge fan of the case because it opens up from a really low point and it's a little bit clumsy. I know you probably don't have to do that too often, but I kind of like just having the top part open, but that's their design. And the design of what, you ask? These are the Soundpeats Air5 Pro Plus high-res audio TWS earbuds, and they are $129.99 currently on a nice 20% discount, dropping them down to $103.99 at Amazon.com. Can't guarantee that price will be there forever, but these are definitely a solid option, and that's what I got. So I'm going to invite you to check me out and come back for my next video. See you then.